And a legal watchdog group wants to know what documents James Comey had his hands on during his time as FBI director. Judicial Watch has filed a Freedom of Information Act request seeking a detailed account of what classified or sensitive information Comey may have signed out. Judicial Watch last month sent a warning letter arguing it was the Bureau's responsibility to recover materials from Comey in order to keep their contents private and confidential, as the law states. For more on the lawsuit and other legal issues of the day, we're joined by Christopher Farrell, Director of Investigations and Research for Judicial Watch. Chris, we know for a fact that he took out his own notes of his conversations with the president. Now, it could be argued that those were not his property, but the property of the U.S. government. But is there more than just his own notes that you're interested in?
Those are not his notes. Those are United States government property. He absconded with federal work product. So let's be clear, those are not his notes. Those are notes that were taken or made as part of his official duties as the director of the FBI while drawing a paycheck from the United States Treasury. And those documents, those records belong to the American people, not to the former director.
But it's more than just those notes that you think he may have taken with him, correct?
Absolutely. There's a question. Ironically, it's the same question we asked concerning Hillary Clinton and her absconding with government records. There's all sorts of questions concerning his departure from the FBI and what other records did he take with him, what did he have access to, what does he continue to have access to. And so all those sort of debriefing and non-disclosure type agreements that he would have executed as he left the FBI, we would like access to make those public, right, so that the people understand, who is this guy and what is he doing? And isn't there a rich irony between his investigation of Hillary Clinton and then his very own conduct upon being dismissed by the president?
A very rich irony indeed. And you mentioned Hillary Clinton and her tendency to take what was government property, everything from silverware, frankly, back when her husband was in the White House, to notes themselves. But I also remember someone who worked in the Clinton administration, Sandy Berger, National Security Advisor, who was, the famous case, went into the National Archives and was stuffing information about the Clinton administration that was not his own, obviously, into his socks and underwear, and he went to, or he was convicted of a crime. Now, I'm wondering if there is going to be a criminal investigation as a result of what you're starting here.
There should be. I mean, frankly, Mr. Comey, under oath, testified that he absconded with those records and that he deliberately leaked them in an effort to provoke or to cause the appointment of a special counsel. And he's in up to his neck with respect to legal liability here. And the notion that somehow he can do as he wills without any consequences is terribly naive.
Well, I got to say, and this is not a plug for you guys, but I can't think of anybody except for Judicial Watch that is having the follow-through and success you guys have had in forcing the hand of the government. I mean, frankly, the government should be doing this through inspectors general, et cetera, but they're not.
David, we had to sue the Director of National Intelligence to compel them to conduct a damage assessment of what Hillary Clinton did.
Well, this is our tax money that should be put to good use. Thank God you in the private sector are doing that. But you mentioned Hillary, and you had a tremendous success last week in forcing the State Department to release emails that it had not yet released on Hillary's experience when she was Secretary of State. How goes that?
Well, believe it or not, the State Department's position was they didn't have to check for Huma Abedin, Cheryl Mills, or Jake Sullivan's emails on the state.gov server. I mean, that's mind-boggling, but that was their position. And so, thankfully, the judge saw how ridiculous that was and ordered the State Department to go back and search their emails. And this is all concerning Benghazi.
Yeah.
And Benghazi is not going away. Anyone who thinks so is deluding themselves.
Now, let me just push the point here. Do you think it's possible that you may be able to find an email discussing the stuff that Susan Rice came out with, which we now know is not true, that this was started not by radicals in the country and by terrorists in the country, but by this video? I mean, is that the chain that you're looking for?
We've already found it. Our work uncovered the email that shows Hillary Clinton emailing her daughter and the Egyptian foreign minister saying that, quote, we know it's not a video, that it wasn't sparked by a protest, that it was a planned terrorist attack. The uncovering of that email is the work of Judicial Watch.
It's extraordinary. But how soon before you find the other State Department emails? Quickly.
It'll be months, virtually guaranteed. There's a lot of foot dragging and stonewalling. It's very remarkable that the Trump administration has adopted essentially the same legal position as the Obama administration. There's a lot of foot dragging, a lot of delay and double talk, and it's very discouraging.
You know, Chris, it takes a long time. I remember the Reagan years, and it took a long time before they could kind of get the Clinton or the Carter syndrome out of their out of their bloodstream. It took about a year for that to happen. Maybe they're going through that process right now. Chris Farrell, again, thank you for the work you do. We appreciate you coming on.